I was trying to calm myself down because I was like panicking. And then I was like, okay, I need to get a hold of one of my people to like let them know where I am because they don't know where I am either, clearly. Otherwise, they would have been there. So I start telepathically trying to connect with my divine counterpart, who I have mentioned in my other podcast. His name is Raj. In this lifetime, in his current incarnation, his name is Raj. But I was contacting him in spirit form because he's my closest friend on top of being my divine counterpart, and also he was supposed to play a big role in my life, this incarnation, which he still is. So I called out to him telepathically, and pretty quickly after that he appears in spirit form. He was physically in a body at that point, but he was already enlightened prior to my incarnation. He's older than me. So he was embodied, he had a body, but he didn't come see me in physical form. He was astral, in his astral form. He was, he was like, oh my God, thank God. Like, we didn't know where you went. We didn't know what happened. Like, and I was upset. He was upset. Like, we were both very upset, which is unusual. Like, it's hard in our soul forms. It's hard to get us upset. Like, this was traumatic for both of us. And he didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what to do. And I said, please, you got to get me out of here. I don't know where I am. So he went to find like somebody who was more of an authoritative, like could make decisions in the Matrix. So he left and went to find somebody that could make a decision to free me. And so he was gone for a while, and I was still sitting there, and I'm trying to talk to that guard, and again he was just like completely ignoring me. And I mean, this was like, it was definitely like a cave. We were underground, and there was candles that were the only lights, but that's all. And so it was very dark, and the vibe was just, it was not my vibe. There was nothing light and gentle about that, like the energy of the place. Like, it felt gross to me. So Raj comes back, and he's like, we have two options, but I could tell like he didn't want to give me the second option because he was afraid that in my state I would choose the second option, which would be like we're starting a war kind of thing. And like, I'm serious. In the physical, large scale war, which we meaning all of us, have participated in that before. And I am so against war. Like, there's no way I would choose that option. But he was afraid that I would ask him to do something that he also was like against, but he would do it if I asked him to. Like, that's the predicament we were in. The other option is that the Matrix was like, well, we will let her out of this prison. So let me back up. Let me just explain free will for a second. Every being in the universe has free will. What that means is that you can choose to harm another person. That doesn't mean that it's right. That doesn't mean that it's okay. That doesn't mean that the collective, that doesn't mean that God, that doesn't mean that the majority of the beings in the cosmos thinks that that's okay. But that is a choice. Like, you can make that choice as a being. That's why these beings are able to hurt and harm others like this. And this is just the start of it, of what they did to me. It also means that choosing to harm others means that you are embodying that frequency. And that means that you attract those types of experiences to yourself. So the beings of the Matrix who are harming others, they're not having a good time of it. They might seem like it because a lot of them are very powerful. They have a lot of money, like they have a lot of like things and like big houses, and they might seem like they're having a good time, but I know that they're not. I know that because I was placed into the depths of their hell that they created for themselves And I've seen it. I know what what they're experiencing. And they're blaming God. They're blaming the light for their experiences. But the truth is that the truth that they have to come to terms with is that they created this for themselves, because by choosing to harm another, you're embodying that frequency and you're attracting those experiences back to yourself every time. Okay, so that's a side note. So the other option was, the war option was never really an option for me. Like, I wasn't going to be like, oh yes, let's create an intergalactic war. No, that's not going to be the option that I choose ever, because that's not me ever. The truth of my being is not that. The other option was that I could get out of this prison by incarnating. Now, these were the quickest options. If I wanted to sit in this prison and, have my guide team come up with other options, that could have been another option. But I didn't want to sit in that prison anymore. And I wanted to get the fuck out, because the thing that I hold most important on a soul level, my most important thing is freedom. I need freedom. Like, if I don't have freedom, I freak the fuck out. And they knew that. The beings of the Matrix knew that about me. So this was the start of the horrors. So the other option was that I choose to incarnate into a body of their choice, into a family line of their choice, and they could do whatever the fuck they wanted to me, but with the caveat that if I got myself out of it, if I clawed my way out of the depths of the hell that they put me in, and I healed myself, they can no longer touch me. They cannot fuck with me, and they also cannot kill me. Although, because they had already infringed on my free will, which is unusual. Like, it's unusual for even beings of the Matrix who are completely, full of fuckery. It is unusual for them to make a choice where they're infringing on free will, because when they make that choice, oftentimes God will intervene. And that is rare. That is extremely rare. It would take for somebody to break a universal law, which there are very few of, and free will is one of them. By catching me and imprisoning me in my incarnation, my free will was taken away from me. And that's the truth of it. And they broke a universal law by doing that. That is unusual for them to do. They do get around the free will option. They were saying that they were getting around the free will option because they gave me options out. But the truth is that they didn't, because I made the choice to incarnate into the body that I chose, and they stole me out of my incarnating. That is taking away my free will. So they basically said, okay, you can agree to our contract, our verbal contract. And that's often what they will do, is they'll get somebody to sign a contract, and they bet, they bet against me. They thought that I would fail. They didn't think that I would be able to escape the prison that they put me in. The multiple prisons, the multiple layers of prison that they put me in, that took me 40 years to claw my fucking way out of. I know myself, and I know when I put my mind to something, I will make it fucking happen. I bet on myself. I knew that I was going to be able to get out of it. As difficult as it was, I know I made the right choice for many, many, many different reasons. Because they fucked up. Because here's the thing about the universe. When you do something like that, oftentimes it backfires. So their choice to imprison me like that and take away my free will, it's more likely than not that it will backfire, because it's just how the universe works. And it did backfire, because not only did I make it out, but they made me stronger. And I don't want to say they made me stronger. I want to say that the circumstances that they put me in made me infinitely stronger than I would have been had I not gone through this experience. They basically fucked themselves, because not only am I going to complete my mission, but they're done. Like their reign on this planet is done. I'm out, bitches. And they did not bank on that. They thought that I was going to fail. And actually, I lost many soul friends who also left me when I was at my lowest to fend for myself and didn't have my back. And there were a lot of friends, and I'm talking about soul friends. I'm not even talking about my friends in this lifetime, but they also, the vast majority of the people that were friends in this lifetime too stabbed me in the back. And this cleared a lot of people out of my life, but also brought me closer to new people and brought me closer to the people that had my back. And my divine counterpart is one of them. But one of the things that happened was that, so I agreed to their terms, and one of the terms in the contract, the energetic contract, the verbal contract that we had, was that Raj could not help me because they knew our connection. They knew, and they also knew that he was already enlightened. So they made that one of the terms, is that he had to promise that he would not help me. Now, that's not to say that he didn't help me. So I'll get into that in a minute.